Judy Stiles. Thank you for joining us this week on Newsmakers. Well, it's baseball season, and there's baseball to watch in Joplin. And this year we're talking about the Joplin Outlaws, and you can go to Joe Becker Stadium to watch them. Joining me representing the Outlaws, we have Karrla Morgan and Mark Raines. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you.
Your season's actually already started as we're recording this program, so we're kind of catching up as the season has started. But probably a lot of people, let's remind them, we say the Joplin Outlaws. How do you describe the team, Mark, when somebody says, who are the Outlaws?
We are a summer collegiate team. We bring college boys in, and they compete in a organized league to make themselves better and work on their game. So when they go back to their schools, that they can become, the starting catcher or that starting shortstop. But they're here to work on their game.
Sounds like they're probably people who really love the sport too. They're not taking the summer off from playing ball.
Well, they've got to love the sport. They're giving up their summer. A lot of our kids are from out of town, and so they're not close to they're not at the family. They're not working, trying to make some pocket money, and a lot of them have girlfriends, so they're away from their girlfriends as well.
So there's some sacrifices from the players' point of view. Well, Mark, as the president and general manager, I know that you're involved in a lot of the team operations. You mentioned a league. Tell me what when we say a league. There's the Mink League.
It's called the Mink League. The Mink stands for Missouri, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. And a few years back, we had teams in all of them states. And as the years have gone by, we've lost a few and we've replaced them. Now there's 7 teams in Missouri and 1 in Iowa. But there are some teams that are looking to join the league, maybe down the road, out of Kansas and Nebraska. But it is an 8-team league, and we play 3 home and 3 away at all them teams. And then we also sometimes there's some gaps in the schedule, and we'll play some non-league teams.
So they're traveling just like any other team. They're going to have away games and home games, and
we play about 6 nights a week. Sometimes there's a doubleheader thrown in there, but when you take the league games, that's 42 games, 21 at home, 21 away, and then we split up the others. I think we have 5 non-league games this year, so you're looking at about 47 games in probably about 55 days. Wow. So that's what the boys are here, is to play ball. It is a wood bat league, so they're not used to the wood bats. They don't play with wood bats at college, so it's a little different game for them. But they're just here to compete.
But of course, using the wood bat may prepare them if they want to go on.
Yes,
that's something they're going to find if they go on to a minor league play or something down the road, and so forth. And Karrla, you mentioned though some of the players aren't from this area, and I know that you have been involved as not only a board member but a host family. So these players have to have a place to call home while they're in Joplin.
Right, exactly. We have 30 some families I think this year that are host families, but we host. Me and my husband host 2 players. A lot of the families just do 1 if they just only have room for 1 or whatever. But we try to make them feel as much at home as possible. We like them to come in, have a place to sleep, join the family, do family activities with us and stuff. And we just provide them some food and just a place where they can relax and hang back. Some of them have to do summer classes online, and so they do that. But it's just a place where they can kind of feel more at home and not feel like they're, away from home.
Right.
So
they have a family to relate to.
Right.
They're not living in a hotel. They're not, the cost of that type of expense. So host families are there, sounds like, to support materially through food and a place to stay, but imagine there's a lot of emotional support that way as well.
Right, and they have to have their own car, so they, have their own transportation, but and then most of our host families will go to the games. Some of them even go to the out-of-town games. We go to all the out-of-town games. But some of them will go to Nevada, Ozark, the closer ones. But for the most part, they all come to the home games and root them on, and and so it makes it nice for them to have some fans, kind of family type fans.
Get the sense of community among the host families and so forth. Well, Mark, how do you find host families? People are watching these a lot.
Well, it's kind of sometimes it's just word of mouth or friends that know about somebody. We do put it out to the public, by media. But a lot of them we just get by word of mouth, and that's kind of nice. And then we have a lot of families that have been with us. We've been around for 9 years, and we've got a few families that have been with us for 7 and 8 years. Some families might have vacations planned, maybe out of the country or something, and they might set out a year, and then maybe they come back the next year.
And I understand you've been a host family for quite a while as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we helped start the team, so we've been a host family since the Outlaws started, and we were also a host family before that when the previous ball team was in town, and then with the USA baseball. So.
Okay. So
12 or 13 years altogether.
So you've seen a lot of players visit over the years.
Yeah, we have. It's a lot of fun, though. And my son is the bat boy for the team, and so he really enjoys having the guys stay at the house and hanging out with all of them in the dugout. So it's been good for him.
Really gives him someone to look up to and follow the team and working along. Well, in addition to players, you also have manager coaches. Tell me about the structure of the team.
Well, we have a head coach, and then he finds a couple assistants. Ones that'll help the pitchers, one that'll help the hitters. Okay. This year, our head coach is out of Riverton, Kansas. He played here at Southern years ago, played under Warren Turner. And then he went into high school, coaching high school. He's been at Riverton, Kansas for about 20 years. I think he's won 2 state championships over there. His son is on the team as well. And then the 2 assistant coaches we have, they also played at Missouri Southern a few years back. And they're both assistants at Black Hawk Community College in Illinois.
Okay.
So it's kind of a homecoming for them as well.
So they're back in the region to help out through the games and to support the team. So the players, let's talk a little about the structure of the players coming to the team and how much time, professional baseball has a spring training. You've got a month or so to get everybody ready. What is your turnaround time? What is your planning time
Not very
for
long.
your teams?
Not very long.
Well, our players are already playing spring college ball.
Right.
So they're already...
They play up until school gets out.
They play until school's over. So a lot of times, depending on their school, they might go into regionals and different things like that. So there's a couple weeks there maybe for a couple of the kids that they haven't played, but they go home, see their family, that type of stuff. We usually invite or have our first team meeting on Memorial Day. Okay. That's been what's in the past few years. And then we probably have about 3 days of practice. And then usually we have our first game. I mean, that's what they're here for, is to play. They're not here to practice. Right. So,
they've played enough through there.
Yeah. So that's pretty much our spring training is at 3 days. But then we get going, and we play about, like I think I told you earlier, we play about 6 nights a week. So
they're doing a lot of ball.
They've got a lot of ball in front of them.
Now, how are the players selected, or how do they get on a team? Do they apply? You're looking. Obviously, you have 9 positions. You need pitchers, you need catchers, and so forth. You don't want everybody coming in and saying, "I'm going to be first base."
Right. Our players are selected by our coaches, and they contact other other programs. We can have 4 players off one school, so we could have 4 Missouri Southern players, 4 Pitt State players, 4 Crowder College players, that type of thing. So you can't rig up a team.
You can't take a whole team from one school and say
exactly.
They're right.
So we get different players from different programs, and we usually try to carry about 18 pitchers because it is a long season. Right. And then we carry usually 3 catchers, 6 middle infielders, and usually 5 outfielders. And that's our roster's around. That's around 31, 32 players, and that pretty well gets us through a season. But the players they do get hurt,
right?
And if they get hurt and they have to go home, we'll try to replace them, and then we just kind of run the team that way. And the coaches, they do the majority of the recruiting
and having that team in place, which I'm sure that's something that starts well before you start playing, many months before, working on putting that together. So this year you're at Joe Becker Stadium. Tell me about what it's like from a host family perspective. We'll sit there and watch the games versus your previous location.
It's a lot better. It's a lot more fan friendly. Joe Becker's a really nice stadium. All the fan seats, most of them are in the shade by the time our games start. So when it gets really hot, it'll be
Fans
nice
are
not to be
this way,
sitting.
the sun setting behind them.
Right. They won't be having to sit there with the sun glaring down on them. So, and it's the seats are all they're just all right there, and there's a good view pretty much from all the seats, and so
you're close enough to the action. You can see what's happening.
Yeah, you're just right there, and so I think all of our fans and our host families will enjoy it this year being back there.
Good. How about the players' perspective? What have you heard them say about it?
Oh, they love it. I mean, when they got here, they were ecstatic about it. We've probably got one of the premier stadiums in our league.
Right.
And our home opener, we had a great crowd. We had some great events going on. We had 50-cent hot dogs, and the city, they had dollar beers. And then we had a fantastic firework show afterwards. It was probably one of the best I've seen in a long time, and that was put on by Black Market Fireworks, and they did a great job. But the boys were, I think some of them were like, well, I sure wasn't expecting this many people coming out to watch us. But they played a great game. We got the win that night.
Now, you mentioned the city, so you're working closely with the city and using the facility, leasing the facility from the city, runs by the Parks Department.
Well, we've been around 9 years, so eight of the 9 we've played at a Joplin City Park. And so we do have a rental fee that we do pay the city. Right. But the Park and Recreation Department has worked with us every year, and have treated us like kings. And we really appreciate their help and their support.
I imagine that really helps the players to know that field's going to be in good shape when they have to run out there and start playing.
Yep.
And the maintenance side of doing things at the ballpark. So you mentioned the first game. I know you have a lot of special events and things that go on. First night you had the fireworks, and as you mentioned, but it's not only the first game. You have a lot of things throughout the season to bring fans in. People reason to come to the game more than just watch the game. We're going to have special events. So let's talk about some of those things that you have going on that happen throughout the season. You can think of a couple of things that are coming up in the near future. You have some special events. I know you're helping the Humane Society, for instance, and things like that.
Yeah, the Humane Society, they bring out some dogs, I believe. I think that's all they don't bring out any cats or anything like that. I think it's mainly dogs. But then I think there's free admission if you bring a donation for the Humane Society. They'll bring out dogs, and then usually what we do is let them come out, and they'll kind of parade them around on the field, and show them off, and hopefully maybe to get them adopted.
Right.
So we have that coming up, and then we have our Veterans Night that we're going to do, and it's a nice night where we pay tribute to the veterans,
local veterans,
salute them, and I believe it's free admission for anybody that's in the military or has been in the military. Then we have a Pink Night that comes up.
Supporting cancer.
Supporting breast cancer, and it's nice. And at all those two events, we get special uniforms or special jerseys for the players to wear, and we auction those off at the end of the night. So if somebody has a favorite player or just want a jersey just as a souvenir, they can buy, and then all the money goes towards those organizations.
Well, I know we have a public service announcement. People who may be watching may see these little spots, we call them public service announcements on television, promoting, and I think we have one talking about the military nights. So let's see if we can pause for a moment and play that spot to let people see a little bit about the promotions involved in these events.
The Joplin Outlaws are back at Becker. Saturday, July 1st is Military Appreciation Night at historic Joe Becker Stadium with a jersey auction, fireworks, and more for the DAV's Forward March program. All military, past and present, admitted free. JoplinOutlaws.com.
See by that promotion, brief spot, but gives you the information, the where to go and the type. But I did notice the admission cost only $5. So.
Right. That's every game. It's general admission, and all kids 12 and under are free all the time.
So do you see a lot of families? I mean, that sounds like a great deal for a family. Let's mom, dad, and the kids, let's go out to the game.
That's kind of what we're based around. I mean, we that's what we want, it's the family atmosphere. Right. And we want the kids for sure. If they've never been to a ball game or if they love baseball, we don't want it to put their families out any money to come see us.
So then you mentioned there's also concessions available that while they're there they can get their hot dogs or their specialty foods. And I know some nights you have some more than just the average ballpark fare. So tell me about some of the other options you might have some of those other nights.
Well, we have our general store. Everything that we sell there goes to the Outlaws. We sell Sonic sweet and unsweet tea every night. We sell our T-shirts, our hats, different things like that. This year we started selling popcorn. We sell kettle corn and cheese corn and caramel corn, peanuts, and then we have Tuesday nights are Taco Tuesday. We have tacos and burritos from Taco Gringos in Webb City. They come out and we sell those. Wednesday nights are Buffalo Wild Wings. They're going to bring out boneless wings to the game for us to sell at our general store. So It's a little bit of a variety from what they have at the concession stand. The concession stand has your, your hot dogs and your nachos and your beer and your pop and stuff. And so we just have, a few little things, that are a little bit extra, different than what they sell. So.
And this helps then support the team as well.
Yes,
you said the proceeds go back to the Outlaws.
Exactly, and everything that's sold at the general store, all them funds come back to us. We are a 501c3 non-for-profit organization, and we survive by donations and sponsors, and then the general store, and then we also receive the portion of the gate money.
You mentioned sponsors, and when you go to the ballpark, you see names and so forth. So you do have some good corporate sponsors.
We do. We really do. We've had a lot of them. We've had since we started, and they've been with us every year, and we're very happy for them. I mean, and they help us out a lot.
Well, it sounds like a big emphasis is supporting the community through these special events and things that you're mentioning. The players also get a chance. I understand that you had a food collection for Crosslines. Tell me about that.
We did at our home opener. We did a canned food drive for Crosslines, and the boys today delivered all the canned goods that the fans brought. I think it was like 250 pounds of. That's how they do it. Not by the can. They weigh it, and they stocked their shelves today, and that I think that's good for them. And then we also last weekend we spent a day with. At the Will Norton Field with the Miracle Kids, and that's also a special day as well.
So they're taking time out aside to playing to help the community and reaching out that way. Now I know another upcoming thing taking time is a baseball camp. So I want to talk about that, let people know about how your players are taking time then to work with the youth in the community.
Okay.
So tell me a little bit about how the baseball camp works, what people could expect from that.
Well, it's a 2-day camp. It's from 9 to 12 on both days. I think it's Tuesday and Wednesday. I'm not sure of the dates.
It's the 20th and 21st
of this month. But they come out and the coach will talk to them, and then he kind of divides them up into the field with the different players, and then they go from like little station to station, and the guys work on hitting and work on catching and work on throwing and pitching, and I think they even use the batting cages, to help them with that. And then at the end of the day, they'll take them up, bring them up on the field usually, and let them hit and run the bases.
So actually run around the field itself.
Right. And we usually have around 100 kids that come to the camp every year, and they all really seem to enjoy it. They get a free T-shirt. And then on the second day of the camp, our ball players go to Cece's Pizza for lunch, and we invite all the campers or anybody that wants to come out and eat lunch with them. For a couple of hours there at Cece's Pizza,
place.
And they can hang out with them and get autographs and stuff like that. So the kids really enjoy it.
What age group are we talking about for the kids?
5 to 12, I think.
So the young kids, so the people who are developing their skills that really. And you feel it's important at this young age to get the kids interested in baseball, playing baseball.
We really do. Tonight, as we're interviewing today, we've got the Joplin Little League coming out. The next week we have the Neosho Little League coming out. They had a lot of flooding down there a few weeks ago, and it really destroyed their fields and stuff. So they've kind of had a tough start to their season. So we're inviting them to come. And then the Park and Recreation has a little league that they call the Little Sluggers. And I think they're about 5 to 9 or 5 to 7 in there. And so they're going to come out at night as well. And we're going to recognize them on the field. And that's always, most of them come early and hang out in the dugout before the game. And then they get to be right out there on home plate as we're singing the national anthem. It's a big thing for them.
That's neat. So they're actually on the field. Their parents are in the stands watching them as they're out there in the pride of being on the field and working together. So to see a game, you see everything you would expect at a game with the national anthem starting off, special ceremonies. Do you have any between inning games, entertainment, and so forth as well?
We do. We have an on-field person that she finds some kids or even adults sometimes to come out, and she does a few different little games for the kids. We do one that's real popular is Dressed Like an Outlaw. They will start at first base, and they have to put on some pants, run to second base, put on a jersey, run to third base, put on a helmet, and then run to home plate. And the kids really enjoy that. But we do 2 or 3 games per game. And then we do a 50-50 drawing where we sell, our players walk around and sell the raffle tickets. And then the winner gets half of the pot and then the other half goes to the Outlaws. And then we do, what else do we do? That's pretty much about it.
We've been very fortunate here. The last couple games we've had the color, the fire department and the EMS come out and present the colors, and that's always touching.
Yeah.
And then every night we do have a special inning that we recognize our host families.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And we have the host family come out to the field with their player, and we take photos with them.
So they all get a family photo.
Family photo
with the player in uniform.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably one inning that I really look forward to, because and we stress it to our host families and everything else. There's no way that we could even put this program on without the support of the host families taking care of our boys. We know where the boys are. We know that they're in a home sleeping. They're not, out struggling for a hotel room or an apartment or something like that. We know they're in a safe place.
Now, as a host family, do you find yourself, I guess, not only socializing, but supporting host families? If someone new comes aboard as a host family?
Yeah, we always have a meeting and introduce all the host families. We kind of tell them, what our kind of team rules and stuff are, and kind of how we do things. And then, if any of them have any questions about, how they should discipline the kids or, anything like that, we give them some ideas. And we do have a team curfew, so we encourage all the host families, to enforce that team curfew,
that rule,
yeah, because, and most of them do. I mean, and most of the players, it's just, we just tell them, to communicate with the player, and to let them know what your house rules are and that they need to, abide by those rules while they're living in their house, and so, and most of the time, most of the host families don't have any problem at all.
So it's about a 2-month commitment as a host family in June and July, helping out with the players.
Yeah.
So you have a season, then do you have a postseason as well? Do they have playoffs?
We do. The league is divided up into a north and a south.
Right.
We are in the south. And in our south division, there is Nevada, Ozark, and Jefferson City. They're a new team this year. And what we try to do is win the south. But we do, at the playoffs start after the records are all done. Well, the second place team will host the third place team for one game, and the winner of that will play the winner of the South to determine the South winner, and then the North will do the same thing, and then the winner of the North and the winner of the South will play a best 2 out of 3 championship series.
So imagine among the players, there's a lot of pride there. That, they've seen those players all season long on the other teams, so they want to say, we're going to.
Well, they know a lot of the players from the other team. Like I said, one team can only have.
Right. So you may have team players from your school on the other team. Right.
Exactly. We might go to Ozark, or we might go to St. Joe, and their college teammates are on the other team.
So makes the baseball world small for them.
It is.
Right?
It really is.
Tying that together. Well, one thing we haven't mentioned is a mascot, which teams nowadays have mascots. So tell me about your mascot for the Outlaws.
You want to talk about Angus?
Angus is our mascot.
Right.
He's we have a David Green. Is that his name? David Green is our mascot, and he comes out to all the games, and he tries to come to all of our, activities that we do off the field, the special events and everything. He walks around the stadium, kind of helps get the crowd going into it, plays with the little kids. He does a really good job, kind of gets the crowd fired up, and then we bring him out on the field when we recognize our host families. And he's in the picture, with them, and so he does a really good job. And all the kids and everybody seem to really like him.
Mascots are always a draw for kids, no matter what school or what organization you're with. It seems to be.
We usually go. We're usually in the Christmas parade every year, the Joplin Christmas parade, and we have Angus in there. And it's kind of fun when we're walking down through the street and kids are yelling, "Angus!"
They know who he is.
They know who Angus is. So that's we've had Angus for about 5 years, 5 to 6 years, somewhere in there. Angus was donated to us from the Kansas City Royals organization. Angus used to be the wrangler at Wichita when they were the Wichita Wranglers. And then years ago, they moved that team to Northwest Arkansas, and they didn't need
that mascot.
Well, they didn't need the mascot anymore. They had a new mascot, and so they donated him to us, and we're just very thankful for that as well.
It shows a lot of support just in the baseball community
It
as
is.
well. I mean, you're not just the college league; you have professional teams supporting
Right.
what you're doing.
Well, we do, and we do have another board, advisory board, and two of the gentlemen on our board is Warren Turner, who coached here at Missouri Southern for a long, long time, and then also our other board member is Steve Luber, and he's been in the Kansas City Royals organization for quite a while. He also played professional ball, and he's coaching at the AA level for the Royals down in Arkansas. So, and him and his wife both help us with the team as well.
I imagine the players like that type of tie, that type of motivation to see somebody who's been so successful tied to your organization.
Right.
And of course, you're also a board member on the board of directors as well. So there's a lot of people working behind the scenes before you can even get the games on the field as a board member.
We take about a month off after the end of the season, and then we kind of start thinking about what we want to do for the next year. Mark and Ed want to go to the Mink League meeting in October where they set the schedule and everything, and then once that gets set and our coach gets busy, usually in September, once school starts, he gets busy recruiting
He knows who's on the
players
teams at
for
the
the
college
next
level.
year, right? And but then we do fundraisers. We do a rib sale at Food for Less. That's always real popular. And just getting our sponsors lined up and trying to think of any new things we can to help make money to help help with
support
our
that
budget,
person,
right?
right.
Right.
Now, as we were talking today, we mentioned a website. I think, I don't know if they've shown it in the back or not for us, but the website has a lot of information, including your schedule. We haven't talked specifically about the schedule, but if they go to the website, there are links there to find out where the games or when the games are going to be held, and then you have a lot of information there as well. So do you recommend people, after watching today, so how can I get more information? Just go to the website? And then you also have Facebook?
We do keep up with our events on Facebook as well, upcoming events.
And Twitter. My
Twitter,
husband also
okay.
does Twitter.
We do we do our best on rainouts. It's kind of hard to do it, but if we have a rain out, we'll get that on Facebook for sure. That type of stuff. But there are some people out there that don't do Facebook.
Right. So how to get the word out?
But it's just kind of tough to get that out.
Of course, an old-fashioned way of getting in touch with people is phone calls, and you have a number of 825-4218.
That's
They
right.
can call you. And
You can always
just
call me.
Call you and
Yep.
say what's happening, what do we need to have going on.
Right.
So, well, what do you enjoy the most, Mark, working with the team as you have over the years?
Well, I think it's my wife and the Morgans. We all enjoy the game. We love the game of baseball, and we enjoy watching it. We'd go to a lot of games together outside the Outlaws, that type of stuff. We enjoy the players. We enjoy the boys at our house. It's every year it's somebody different. Most of the time, we usually have about 3 or 4 returnees come back each year, but there's always new personalities and that type of stuff that come through our houses. We get to know the boys. This year, one of our players is getting married in a couple weeks, so we've been invited.
Extra excited time.
We've been invited to his wedding. There's a lot of times that we're invited to their graduation and that type of stuff, and it's just nice that they kind of include us as their family, and then they're like at my house. They're welcome at my house anytime. I give them a key to my house, and I don't take it back. And if they're traveling through Joplin and they need a place to sleep or they need a meal, they know that they've got a place. They know that they've got a place to do that, and people that'll help support them.
Good.
They become part of your family.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for visiting with us today, sharing information with the audience about the Outlaws, and wish you the best of luck continuing the season this year.
Well, thank you.
Well, thank you for having us.
You're welcome. And I'd like to thank the viewers for joining us this week. I'm Judy Stiles. Hope you can join me again next week on this station. We'll see you then.